silence, touch the stillness.
This shift is deeply human as much as it is spiritual.
The silence,
There's no difference between the human and the spiritual realm.
let the silence touch the stillness. Let the silence touch the stillness. Remember, your life is the song.
We're going through a very important time right now in humanity. Many of us have been knowing this for a long, long time.
It is the song of harmony.
Many changes have been taking place and will continue to take place. But this new time requires certain essential human capacities.
The song. You are the song. You hear it in the silence. You hear
It requires that we
it in the silence.
enter into silence and stillness so we can listen
In the silence.
to ourselves.
Let the silence touch the stillness. Let the silence touch the stillness.
My given name is Giselle Marzo de Peña. My married name is Giselle Segura. And I am the daughter of Valentin Marzo from Cuba and Carmen de Peña de Marzo from the Dominican Republic. My paternal grandparents are Godiardo Marzo and Elda Bozan from Cuba. And my maternal grandparents are Domingo Antonio de Peña and Modesta Blanco. And so when I introduce myself, I bring my lineage and my family. They come together, and it's because of them that I'm here. And so part of the work that I do is, or part of my path has been about honoring all those perfect moments I brought my ancestors together that made my life possible. And it's because of them that I'm able to have the privilege and the gift of this human experience. And so part of my path has taught me to release any kind of labels and ideas I have of myself, so I can be present in this moment, right here, right now. So many of us struggle with some parent or a grandparent, but beyond the label of what they were, is if there is one thing that we can be grateful for, is that somehow at some miraculous, magical moment they met, and a lot of other ancestors before them met and created that unique seed that I am and that you are.
Yes.
And so it's so sacred, this life, because if it weren't for our lineage, we wouldn't have this life. And so I say a lot, if there's one gratitude that we can offer, is the gratitude to be alive. Every single being, human and non-human, that comes into my experience is a teacher for me. Every experience is a teacher. And so part of my path has been to really create the space within myself to pause and notice. And whenever I am caught in a space where that is very intense, instead of asking why me or why is this happening to me, the question for me has been, what for? And so every experience in my life is my teacher. Every human in my life is my teacher. To me, when we come together, like we're doing right now, you're teaching me as much as you may feel that I'm teaching you. There's a saying that is, when we come together, it's like we're gifting each other flowers. And so your presence is a flower that you're giving to me. And so who I was 5 minutes before this moment is not who I am right now, because your presence shifts something in me. And so you touch my life that way. And when we allow ourselves to live in that kind of presence, then we can really realize that we're all walking each other home. There is a miracle taking place in the present moment. And it's so subtle that if we're not present, we miss it altogether. It's a miracle that it's all of us. This shift is deeply human. To me, it's about realizing the gift of this human experience. But also when we come into certain spiritual realizations, those spiritual realizations as a human being, it's very important that we put it into the service of others. When I speak about putting into the service of others, service first to myself, being coherent with myself, living in integrity, putting into the service of family, immediate family. community, the world, the cosmos. But it starts at home. And so many of us have this longing. There's so much conflict going on. All that is teaching us what we need to observe inside. So it's very important, if we want harmony, that harmony needs to be first internal harmony. Internal harmonious presence. And we have the capacity to bring that harmony into our homes. We are who our ancestors prayed for. We have a beautiful responsibility. And when I speak about responsibility, I speak about response ability. To be that loving presence, especially when we have realized it. Some of us realize that loving presence, but we want to avoid the spaces that don't resonate with that loving presence. But we're also here to be at service. Because then, if we are not at service in those places we avoid, they were not, in my view, fulfilling the purpose of why we are here and why we've been given that gift. For me, of course, I don't have the truth. I only have my experience. And I understand that everyone else also has their truth and experience. We're all points of perception in this beautiful web of creation. And so everyone has probably a version of that truth that altogether becomes this beautiful woven tapestry.